Now, as far as political transitions are concerned, in a very recent development, Andry Rajoelina has been declared the winner of the presidential election runoff in Madagascar. This according to results announced on Thursday by the country's electoral commission. But after that announcement, rival candidate Mark Ravalomanana contested that election results, filing a challenge with the High Court. Now, the court has 9 days to decide whether to confirm the provisional results. And of course, following dramatic events of November 2017 that led to his ascension to power, Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa has been a busy man in 2018. From Harare, here's CGTN's Farai Mwakutuya with more.
Following the dramatic political changes of 2017, most of the focus this year was on that man, Emmerson Mnangagwa, the president of Zimbabwe. Now, he was trying to rebuild Zimbabwe after years of economic decline. He also sought to restore diplomatic relations with the international communities. One of the ways that he sought to do that was through holding a peaceful, credible, free and fair election. He promised that, and for the most part, he delivered. The elections happened in July. This was the first election to be observed by observers from the UK, US and EU in nearly 2 decades. It was a peaceful election on the most part, but was marred on August 1st, a dark day for Zimbabwe, when violence erupted. Demonstrators took to the streets, unhappy about the pace at which election results were being released. The army was called in to quell those protests, and unfortunately 6 people lost their lives, 35 others were injured, and damage was done to property. A commission of inquiry was set up, and we were intrigued following that commission of inquiry, the public hearings that they undertook, gathering evidence from Zimbabweans of all walks of life. That gripped this entire nation of Zimbabwe as they sought to get to the bottom of who was behind the violence and, more importantly, what action would be taken on the perpetrators and what compensation would be given to the survivors and the victims. The election was also the first to be challenged in the country's constitutional court, the country's highest court. Opposition leader Nelson Chamisa disputed the results of the election. He said he was the rightful winner, and so he took his challenge to the courts. Following what happened in that courtroom, the legal arguments, the cases built by both the opposition and the state was also something that gripped this entire nation and captured the nation's attention and imagination. The courts finally ruled in favor of incumbent Emmerson Mnangagwa, giving him another 5-year term, which will end in 2023. As he now moves forward, he and his ruling party are now under pressure to deliver on promises made on the campaign trail. Many Zimbabweans look to them for jobs, for better economic prospects, for service delivery and for a brighter future. But delivering a better economy hasn't been easy. We've continued to report on some of the economic challenges that beset this country. In particular, a long-running and crippling shortage of both local and, most importantly, foreign currency. It's led to shortages of some basic commodities, including bread, cooking oil, and most recently, fuel. It's also started to propel inflation upwards again. It's recently hit a 10-year high, stoking fears of a return to a bitter and painful past. 2008 was when Zimbabwe had record-breaking inflation. It's also the same year that there was a deadly outbreak of cholera. The disease reared its ugly head again this year. At least 50 people died. Lots more were infected. We visited the epicenter of the outbreak in Glenview and Budiriro. We spoke to communities living in fear of the disease, saw the breakdown in water and reticulation infrastructure, but also saw a response that was mounted by government and its development partners. That response was scaled up rapidly to ensure that the disaster of a decade ago was not relived. Communities in the area are receiving vaccines to increase their resilience to the disease, particularly now as the rainy season sets in. 2018 has been a difficult year, but to be expected for a nation that is in transition. 2019 is set to be even tougher, and Zimbabweans have been told to brace up for that and tighten their belts. President Emmerson Mnangagwa's administration is implementing austerity measures, which it hopes will deliver prosperity. Many Zimbabweans will look to the new year hoping that the pain they're enduring now will deliver the brighter future that they all yearn for.